Oh yeah, we're going deep with this one. So from the day I created my channel, I wanted to talk about Garten of Banban, but since this game franchise broke Scott Cawthon's world record of releasing 4 games under a year with 5, I couldn't talk about them cause, as you saw with my FNAF movie video, I'm always late to talk about things cause the script for these videos takes so long, but I think I'm gonna change from this point on. So, if you have been living under a rock, Garten of Banban is a mascot horror game created as an inside joke between two brothers. So, let's start with the first game so you could better understand what I am talking about. Garten of Banban released on January 6, 2023. While yeah, this game is free, it also came with a merch store button. So, because this game is free, I'm not gonna go as hard on this game as I would with the other ones, but it is still a bad game. So the game doesn't hide the fact that it is copying many things from Poppy Playtime. The place is associated with kids, it has bright recognizable mascot characters chasing you, and so much more. The only unique gimmick is the drone, which you control using this remote, which is similar to the grab pack from Poppy Playtime. The drone on this game is fine, but it is pretty slow and the controls are a bit weird. And gameplay wise, there isn't really anything. The game could be beaten under 10 minutes, and the gameplay is just pushing some buttons, grabbing some eggs and hammer, and the chase sequence between you and a peeler bird, which is honestly laughably bad. After you get another key card, you get on an elevator getting deeper in the kindergarten, where you encounter Jumbo Joss, easily the most recognizable character in the series. So the game isn't something great, it doesn't feel as a game, as it's not fun, not scary, cause you're just walking collecting key cards and nothing more. So yeah, it is pretty bad, but it saves itself by being free. So let's talk about the second game. So this game costs money, $4.99 to be exact, and I don't really think it deserves a price tag. So did the game improve? Well, kind of. The game is still repetitive and boring. The drone is the same thing as the last time. The environments are still bad and they make less sense. Like, look at this. This is supposed to be under a kindergarten, but surprisingly the game isn't completely terrible. It introduces voice acting and cutscenes, which are decent. And also through the cutscenes and dialogues we get some information about the story, which is okay, I guess. But still, the game could be beaten under an hour, which is an improvement, but some sections in this game feel like the developers put them to just make the game longer so people could not refund it on Steam. This problem actually became so prevalent with people sharing it on Twitter that the developers of the game commented the fact that people are refunding the game, calling it scummy behavior. Yeah, that problem got deep. I could see both sides. Yeah, it isn't a good look to refund the game and profit off of it, but cause it could be beaten under an hour, you shouldn't put it at this cost. But anyways, as I previously mentioned, some sections are made purely to waste your time, and those are the Bambalina classroom and the Baby or Peeler Bird section. In the Bambalina classroom, you have to listen to Bambalina talking and then pick one of the 4 options. Sounds simple, right? No. You have to stay to listen to her talking 3 times, and if you click the wrong answer at any point, you would have to re-listen every single dialogue. But anyway, let's talk about the other section, which you have to catch and put in a nest every single baby Opila bird in the area without Opila bird catching you. It is really frustrating. It doesn't help that the controls for this thing suck. Also, this game has more chase sequences that the first game has. The first encounter is with Nab. In this chase, all we need to do is to run through these shelves and eventually make it into a door. But the problem is we never actually see Nab because of how fast we are expected to run away. There is no time to stop and look at them, which takes away all of the horror. The second chase is a one with Opila Bird, but it is the same thing with the first game's chase, just run and press some buttons. But the chase sequence at the end is decent. In this one, we need to avoid Bambalina while also sometimes being attacked by Jumbo Jaws. This is a lot better than the previous ones, as we can see the threats attacking us, and they managed to build up some of tension. Also, there are some unique gameplay moments like the two I previously talked about, but also these Roblox parkour type rooms, which makes no sense whatsoever. So, is this game better than the first? Yes, but barely. This game is still extremely boring and not scary besides the small chase sequence. It is decent at best, but for $4.99 it is not worth it. So will Garten of Banban 3 be better or worse? Let's find out. Well, it is surprisingly better as you could get with only like having 3 months to work on it. But anyway, one of the improvements is the gameplay. The first noticeable difference is that you could play as one of the monsters, Stingy Flynn. The actual gameplay for these sections are, while not the best, it is still a way more interesting than the more normal gameplay which we saw in the previous installments. In the times when you play as Stingy Flynn, you have to complete puzzles, but you have to use your Stingy Flynn powers, which are basically electricity shots, and the puzzles most of the time involves you shooting electricity shots into multiple buttons. And I know this doesn't sound like the most amazing gameplay ever, but for Banban standards it is pretty decent. Another great gameplay moment I really liked was one where we're being watched by Jumbo Jaws. We need to solve puzzles to escape this room, but every once in a while the light in the room would change to blue, meaning that Jumbo Joss is coming back to check on us. We were expected to return everything back how it was before we began escaping, as Jumbo Joss detecting a difference in the room would get us killed. With this section tests our memory, and I really like it, although I died many times on this section cause I am not good at memory games. And the last gameplay moment I really liked is when we built a girlfriend for Nab. Yeah, I am not joking. In this section we are given a time limit and expected to balance 3 different mechanics at once in order to perform the surgery properly. Firstly, we need to use this color chart in order to make certain colors. Secondly, we need to turn all of these lights to the wall green, as well as use ours to push a button. This will grant us 1 use of the syringe. We need to do this few more times and to complete the surgery. This part for me was actually really cool. It is probably one of the highlights of this game. The fact you are expected to do things more than just walking around and pushing buttons is always an improvement for me, and I have to admit that sometimes it was kind of stressful. Also, this is the first game in the series to have a boss fight. This boss fight has us dodging projectiles while also pushing buttons in order to send rockets to this beast and eventually taking it down. While yeah, I know this boss fight isn't the best and is very basic, but I think it was a neat addition. And I think this installment is the best between the last 2 games. But that doesn't mean the game is perfect and doesn't have its flaws. It most definitely has flaws, and some of the same flaws as the other two. Like that the game is padded out with long wait times and very slow dialogue sections, which is nothing more than exposition. Also, the locations still, they are most absurd than the last game, and also the game's story is just thrown out the window. It is very clear that the brothers didn't care at this point for the story. I mean, we get teleported in a dream-like sequence where Stingy Flynn and the other characters are all driving in the desert before Stingy Flynn crashes the car into a rock. And of course, I can't forget the fight scene at the end, where no amount of commentary can do justice for what we witness next. So I'm gonna play this next scene in its entirety.
Stop it, you two.
This moment makes me laugh so hard. Even with all of the padding, this game wasn't able to pass the 2 hours mark, but I don't think it deserves a price tag of $4.99. But to answer the question, is this game better than the other one? Absolutely, but it still needs many improvements. So will Garten of Banban 4 fix them? Let's find out. The game costs $10. Like what? It better be the best game in the franchise, which is not. It is actually worse than Garten of Banban 3. Everything besides one thing that I'm gonna talk about later feels so rushed. The gameplay sections are just as boring as they were in the second game, besides like 2 cool moments, but everything else feels so boring. We are back at doing fetch quests where we pick X amount of objects or use the drone to push a bunch of buttons. All of the chase sequences are back at being boring. We can never see who is chasing us until the very end. There is a boss fight in this game, but the hitboxes are absolutely terrible, and I found myself getting killed by the enemy when I wasn't even near it. Also, the gameplay of the boss fight is pretty basic. You have to bait this guy into running to these 4 buttons, and that's it. The location in this game doesn't make any sense. Like, there's a kingdom 4 floors under a kindergarten. Also, more Roblox parkour sections. The game doesn't even pass the 2 hours mark runtime, which really disappointed me. For a game 2 times the price of the previous, you expect more content. Not Choo Choo Charles, which I'm gonna talk about later. But I want to talk about a couple of things that did improve. First and foremost, the voice acting in this game is phenomenal, and it is definitely carries the whole chapter, especially the performance of T.Y. Cooker, which is the voice actor of Bitter Giggle. Wait. He follows me on Twitter. Also, the music in this game isn't that bad. It is actually really good. I found myself enjoying some of these tracks. Also, there are 2 gameplay moments in this game which they had cool concepts. For the first one, it involves the player memorizing different rooms and then having to declare which room have changed in order to unlock a door. It's a fun little memory game. And the second one involves the player having to get an elevator path by passing some vents, which in order to see what vent to pass, you have to use your little baby Opela bird to warn you of which vents to not walk past. It is a unique concept which I really like, and both of those moments are kind of fun and a nice change of pace from the otherwise boring gameplay. Also, this happens.
Help me!
Yeah, this is my life now. Choo Choo Charles appears from a completely different indie game, just randomly shows up in one of those weird Stingy Flint dream moments. At this point, it was very clear to me that the brothers are just trolling us or just want to try to farm those Twitter impressions as soon as the game releases. So firstly, to get this clear out of the way, I am not going to talk about Garten of Banban 6 cause this video is taking way too long and I haven't completed yet. And I am first going to talk about Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 because it is still somewhat relevant and it is better than Garten of Banban 6 probably. And can I say for a moment that Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 is probably the best mascot horror game that we have right now, and it's actually amazing. Like, videos coming up, I have to finish the script, but man, this game is so good. I loved every part of it. Like, yeah. Anyway, so this game franchise is a roller coaster, and started bad, it improved a bit, it became decent, and then became bad again. I don't know if 6 will be better, but from what I have been hearing, it is the best game to have come out of this franchise. So yeah, that was the video, guys. I have been DarkAcidixz, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.